Hey, so if you are a commuter of New Jersey Transit and you commute from New Jersey to New York on a daily basis or even hybrid, this is the video for you. This is what I'm talking about because you are being deeply impacted right now because of the New Jersey Transit strike. And if you don't know, even if you're not one of those people who commutes, and if you've been living under a rock and you do not know, but you live in New Jersey, the New Jersey Transit engineers went on strike on Friday at midnight, stopping all train service, not just from New York to New Jersey, but all train service in New Jersey was halted. And hundreds of thousands of people depend on going to work using the NJ transit system, especially those people who live in New Jersey and work in New York. I used to be one of those people. And if you're going through this right now, you are going through the motions. Like you are going through it just to be able to go to work, or you're choosing what I would choose to do in my career right now. What I would choose to do is to just not go to work. I would just be working from home, or it's time for me to take PTO. That's what I would do. Because back when this was happening to me, right? And there hasn't been a strike from the NJ Transit engineers in decades. Like it's been quite some time. However, when I was commuting from from Jersey to New York, there were times in that time period when New Jersey Transit was shut down. And I remember one very clearly. One of them was when there was a hurricane in New Jersey, and it's very rare for New Jersey to have really bad hurricanes, right? There was a hurricane in New Jersey, and everything was flooded. The train stations were flooded. The tracks were flooded. It was a mess. So there was no train service for a significant amount of time. So people had to use alternate ways to get to work. So I was living in Montclair at the time, so I used the bus. I used the bus. And it took about, I don't know, it didn't take bad to get to work because you just hop on the bus with everybody else, but it was packed, right? So it'd take you about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to get to work, and then you work your 8-hour day. But coming back from work was when the nightmare happened. The nightmare happened when you got to the Port Authority and it took you about 2 to 3 hours to even get on a bus. I'm going to say that again. It took you about 2 to 3 hours to even get on a bus. And then you had to get on that commute back home and all the traffic. It took you about an hour and a half to 2 hours to get home. So now we're talking about a 15 to 18 or 20-hour day because the train systems are down. And so there's a strike happening right now in New Jersey. And actually, they just ended it. They just ended the strike. But the strike started on Friday. And they had a whole weekend to get the negotiations. And they just did it on Sunday. And what I find ridiculous about this, right, is that your governor in New Jersey, Governor Phil Murphy, has a nerve to put out communication that this is the fault of the engineers, that the engineers who are striking, that it is their fault, that they're the ones who are being greedy. And I'm so annoyed with this. I'm going live for the very first time, mind you. I'm going live to talk about this because I want to know how others are feeling, because I think that it's pretty ridiculous that your governor, who is a liberal governor, he's a Democrat who are supposed to be for the workers, who is blaming the few greedy engineers, that New Jersey Transit, the corporation, does not want to pay the workers what they should be getting paid. Now, granted, New Jersey taxpayers do pay a portion of the salaries of these engineers. That is true. So when you pay them more, there's an impact to New Jersey taxes. But understand that they were going from 115,000. They wanted 115,000, and they wanted to go to 170,000. 115,000 is not a great wage. It's not a great salary in New Jersey. Now, if you're living in New Jersey and you're thinking to yourself, $115,000. Well, I make less than $115,000 and I'm living here. My question to you is, how are you living in New Jersey for less than $115,000? How are you living? Right? And then my next question is, if you're making less than $115,000 and you're living in New Jersey, how specialized is your role? Because these engineers are specialized roles. I can't just go in there and go apply to become an energy transit engineer. Those are specific and specialized roles. So if you have a specific and specialized role that not everyone can do, and you live in the state of New Jersey, and you make less than $115,000 a year, then I need you to email me so we could talk about why you are in a specialized role and you're making less than $115,000 in New Jersey, because you should not be. We need to talk, and you and I need to have a conversation about how you're going to negotiate your next rate. Right? So these employees, these engineers are negotiating their rate. They hadn't received a raise. For over 7 years. I don't know if that's, I think they hadn't received a raise for over 7 years. And since this is live, I don't have a lower third to correct this, but someone, if you can look it up, let me know if I'm wrong. But they haven't received a raise in 7 years, pre-COVID. And we all know the changes, the impact, the price raises, the gouges, everything that has gone up since COVID. People can't even buy eggs right now since COVID. And the governor and the CEO of NJ Transit have the nerve to blame the employees as opposed to blaming the corporations. These corporations are greedy. Okay? And they do not care. Your corporation that you work for, they do not care about you. I want this to be a clear message to everyone. If you do not know about what's happening with the NJ Transit strike, and the worst thing about this strike, right? The worst thing about this is that the governor and the CEO do not care enough about the workers in New Jersey this is impacting. Hundreds of thousands of people cannot get to work, or they have to spend almost 20 hours just to get to work. Like, to have a full day at work. It's a 20-hour day almost because of this strike. Friday and today was based like a 15 to 20-hour day for those people who had to get to work. Those people who make less than $115,000 a year that cannot get to work or have to go through the craziness in order to get to work. And these people just came up with an agreement on Sunday. So the point where they're still impacted on Monday, that Monday you can't say that Monday everyone can start using New Jersey Transit again. Everyone can start taking the trains again. No, they've got to wait till tomorrow. So today, people still, if you're at work today in New York City and you have to come back to New Jersey, or even Philly, but New York City is worse. I'm sorry. But if you're at work today in New York City and you have to come back to New Jersey, you still got to deal with that 2 to 3 hour wait wherever it is, or you got to get on the PATH train, right? You got to be squeezed up like we're New Yorkers. You got to be squeezed up on the PATH train more than it's already on a normal day. The PATH is packed. But now, without NJ Transit, come on. Come on, bro. These corporations do not care about you. This is a corporate problem. This is not a problem of the employees. This is not the employees being too greedy. The employees deserve that pay. They deserve to go from $115,000 to $170,000. They deserve to have at least $150,000 in New Jersey for a specialized career, for a specialized role that is unionized and that not everyone else can do. When you are negotiating for your salary or for your hourly rate, when you're negotiating for that, you need to understand and you need to stand 10 toes down in what you want. Because they will fight you tooth and nail. And these people are unionized. They didn't get a raise for 7 years or whatever the amount was. They didn't get a raise for 7 years That's how your corporations will do you. Or you'll get that, that little bit, that 2%, 3% raise on an annual basis, maybe. How many of you, I bet you I put up a poll right now. I don't even know how many people are in here, but I bet you I put up a poll right now in regards to how many people have actually had a time period when they did not get a raise for a year. Where there was 1 year where the corporation was like, and this is recent, like since COVID, in between COVID and now, has been a time period where your company was like, you know what, guys, we can afford to give raises this year, so nobody's getting a raise. You got your same salary last year, but everything went up. Gas went up, eggs went up, food went up, everything, your bills went up, everything went up, but not your salary. I want everyone to take this as a lesson, what the New Jersey Transit engineers are going through. Take this as a lesson for how corporations will treat you. You will get hired, you will get a job, you'll get a rate, and they will not give you a raise, a significant raise, for a significant amount of time. And then when you ask for it, they'll fight you on it. And while they're fighting you, they're calling you greedy. They're saying that you're asking for too much. They say that you're doing too much. They're telling you that you don't deserve it. They're saying that we can't afford it. That you don't deserve it. They're saying that we can't afford it. We can't do it. Your skill isn't specialized enough. We can't do it. You're not important enough for us. We can't do it. That's what the vast majority of these companies are doing. Now, there's a few, a few exceptions. There's a few exceptions here and there that are not like that. I know companies that pay their employees very well, and every year when there's a raise, they raise it very well. I know a few here and there, but there's not that many. The vast majority of the companies act exactly the way New Jersey Transit is acting. New Jersey Transit is a corporation, and it's government subsidized, but it is a corporation. And this CEO and the governor of New Jersey, who's supposed to be someone who is for the people, he acts like, I'm so happy that if you're a New Jerseyan, I don't live in New Jersey anymore, but I'm so happy that you guys, that you don't have to deal with him next year. So as you are voting for your next governor in the next year, what type of person is this person going to be? Who are they really for? Regardless of which side they're on, regardless if they're a Democrat or if they're Republican or independent or something else on the sun, like, who are they actually setting up for? Because this situation with New Jersey Transit proves to you, or should prove to you, that Governor Phil Murphy is not a governor for the people at all. When he's calling engineers for New Jersey Transit greedy and blaming those people, those two handfuls of people, right? Blaming those people for the hundreds of thousands of New Jersey commuters that either could not get to work or had to go through hell to get to work. Had to pay for an Uber ride when they really couldn't afford it to get to work. Had to squeeze on the PATH train. Y'all know how dirty the PATH train is? Do y'all know how dirty the PATH train is? They haven't cleaned up or updated or upgraded the PATH train since probably 1975. Okay. The same PATH train my mom was using back in the day It's probably the same path train I was using when I was on it, and the same path trains they're using right now. It's just a really sad situation. They have come to they have come to an agreement. But I think it's so disgusting that the governor and the CEO were blaming the employees when really, when you look at it, when you look at this deeply, when you look at this with a critical eye, when you use some critical thinking, you recognize that it was really the greed of the corporation and their unwillingness to treat employees that hundreds of thousands of New Jerseyans depend on with dignity and respect, and paying them what they should have been paid in the first place. Anyway, that's my rant. I didn't have to rant about that because I was pretty annoyed with that. I'm happy that they reached an agreement. I'm happy that they reached an agreement. I am doing it live. It's my first one. So I'm happy they did an agreement. It's sad that they couldn't get to the agreement on Saturday or Friday or even before the strike happened. Like, why couldn't they reach an agreement before the strike happened? Why did it have to come to hundreds and thousands of employees being impacted? We're talking about the New Jersey Transit strike, and the fact that the governor blamed the employees as opposed to calling this what this is, corporate greed. It didn't even have to come to that. But really what this is to help you understand that if you are negotiating a salary with your, not the little engine that could, no. Yes. But what this really is about is if you're negotiating a salary, and by the way, vacay expert, I need to text you. But if you are negotiating a salary, stand 10 toes down on that number. Choose a number ahead of time. Don't pull it out of the air, right? Actually be serious about what the number should be. Like, do the research in regards to what you actually should be getting paid for what you're doing. Do that research. And then, what's your budget? What kind of lifestyle do you want to live on, right? What's the lifestyle that you want? Especially if you're in New Jersey. $115,000 in New Jersey. And I know, like I said it already. I already know that somebody's gonna come up here and is gonna be like, well, I'm not making $115,000. I'm making $75,000 in New Jersey, and I'm living. And I'm gonna ask you again, how are you living? How are you living if you're making less than $115,000 in New Jersey? Okay. I don't want to live that way. That's not how I would want to live in New Jersey. Making $80,000, $90,000 in New Jersey. That's not how I would want to live. At all. So that would be my question for you. And again, my second question for you is then, if you're making less than $115,000 in New Jersey, how specialized is your skill? What kind of skills are you working with? Because then I would imagine that you're not working with the right skills. And if you are working with the right skills and the problem still lies with you, then you need to negotiate something. You need to do some better negotiation. The problem still lies with you. The problem still lies with you. However, when you realize that the problem lies with you and you decide finally that you're going to start negotiating for your salary, you're going to start really making a decision about, I want to have this kind of lifestyle. I want to live this kind of way. I want to actually buy my eggs and not have to worry about it. Okay? When they put the eggs at $6.99, it's going to annoy me because I know they're not worth $6.99, but I'm still going to buy the eggs anyway, and it's not going to hurt me. When you decide that, when you make a decision, okay, and you decide that number, you have to stand 10 toes down on that number. How bad do you want that job, right? Like, at least come up with a range. At least come up with a range. If you don't have a number, at least come up with a non-negotiable. I'm not going below this number. And have a range that you're willing to work with. And don't living on a dream. Not living on ramen in a dream. But come up with a range that you're willing to work with. And stand 10 toes down on that range. That's it. And be willing to walk out. Just like these NJ Transit workers knew their worth. They're willing to walk. They didn't care. Like, the fact that hundreds of thousands of people would be impacted, they're like, okay, well, we're walking out. And sometimes that's not financially capable for you. For some people that's not financially capable. But you've got to get yourself to the point where that is something that you can do financially. Where you're like, I'm walking out if it's not this. And that's it. And it doesn't matter. I'll do better without you. You guys won't do better without me. You just got to make the decision. So I've got a person go back to work. And in the words of a vacay expert, don't live on ramen in the dream on $115,000 in New Jersey. But take this as a lesson for how corporations treat you. They don't care. The vast majority of them. All right, later, y'all.